An empire toppled by its enemies can rise again, but one which crumbles from within, that's dead.
I know that road. What is this?
Tony.
Did you know? I didn't know it was him.
Oh, great, the Winter Soldier.
Okay, before you see my face, I was not planning on this, but when I went to my screening for Sonic the Hedgehog 2, they had face paintings. I pushed every kid out of the way to make sure I could look like Sonic for you guys. I have transformed! No more helmets for me! This is my final form. Sonic the Hedgehog 2 is the sequel fans have been waiting for, a franchise that started with utter disaster, giving us a designs fans rejected. We have come a long way since then, because now we have characters like Tails, Knuckles, even Robotnik fully formed as Eggman for one more adventure. And that's all pretty much it without any spoilers to you guys. This will be a spoiler-free review. Be sure you return for when the movie's officially released. There are so many clap-worthy cheer moments, and that post-credit scene. Oh, we gotta talk spoilers when the movie comes out. But sticking spoiler-free for now, obviously you could tell I'm a Sonic the Hedgehog fan. I played the games growing up a lot, and even then, when they announced that first Sonic movie and everything leading up to it, I was not really always 100% on board behind it. Even when they fixed the Sonic design, I still thought the movie looked a little mediocre. I hated that they were following that formula of a CGI character entering our human world, interacting with our surroundings, and having very little video game-isms attached. And then when I actually saw the movie, I was actually quite surprised with how they nailed that formula. I think the first Sonic movie does the best out of any of those movies where they throw in a CGI character into our real world. But then we were seeing the trailers come out for Sonic the Hedgehog 2, and it felt like an entirely different franchise. They were finally getting to embrace the Sonic video games. With every new piece of footage that was being released, I just kept saying to myself, I can't believe this is where we're at for the Sonic universe. I am pumped to see it, and now finally having come out of the movie and watching it, guys, Sonic fans are gonna love this movie. Sonic the Hedgehog 2 really does feel like an entirely different franchise, and all for the better. Even from the opening of the movie and the way things progress with the story and the characters they decide to focus on for this movie follow none of the previous formula of CGI and human characters having to blend in. The movie is not afraid to dive into the Sonic lore and throw in stuff from the video games to try and tell a fun and entertaining story, and they absolutely succeed in that. Knuckles and Tails as an addition to our furry little CGI creatures in here make the movie so much better, and having them interact with Sonic himself is just such a delight to see, especially if you grew up on the video games. I thought it was so refreshing that the studio allowed the original voice actress for Tails, Colleen, to actually step in for the role in the movie. It makes all the difference in the world with bringing this character to life, making you already feel connected to it since they sound familiar to what you already know, as opposed to just grabbing some random celebrity and throwing their name on the poster, which we have seen countless movies do that, but it doesn't mean it's always bad, because Idris Elba as the voice of Knuckles, boy, knocks it out of the park. Idris Elba as the voice of Knuckles not only captures the strength and demeanor that a Knuckles should have for being this brute, but he actually also adds a lot of comedy to Knuckles without making him look like a complete idiot. The way Knuckles was written in here, you can tell was done with such respect, because of course there are some moments in here where people are gonna get a laugh out of the things Knuckles does, but they never take it as far as disrespecting a fan favorite character. In fact, that's something I really like the way they handled in Sonic 2. Because anybody who knows even an ounce of Sonic knowledge knows the feud between Sonic and Knuckles won't really last that long, but the way the movie goes about the partnership with Eggman and Knuckles, having them work side by side against Sonic, and then the things that transpire, it all makes sense and doesn't make either characters look dumb. You completely get their motives and why they're choosing to work together to get what they need. I'm also happy that this movie wasn't afraid to make the CGI characters essentially the main characters. That's the thing that's always troublesome with these Hollywood movies, is sometimes they're afraid to make these CGI characters characters, the main stars, like in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movies or the Transformer films, they always put such a spotlight on the human characters that it feels kind of dull. But here our furry little friends are still for sure the main stars, and even the human characters have moments throughout the film where they don't just feel completely sidelined and we're ignoring them just because we've decided to take the franchise a different direction. I also want to take a moment and talk about just how visually stunning this movie looks. Like, from all the trailers, they look good, and on the big screen, it looks even better. There's a lot of fights and sequences they hid from the trailer, and seeing those moments not only made my audience clap and cheer, but as a Sonic fan, you'll literally get chills, and I wouldn't even be surprised if some people tear up. This movie to me outdoes the first Sonic movie like 10 times over. Just seeing Jim Carrey finally being realized as Eggman is such a joy to watch on screen. You can tell Jim Carrey is just having a blast. But I do want to now transition over to some of the elephants in the room, because if you've been following the Sonic news lately, you'll see that critics are actually not 100% loving this movie. I was actually getting surprised when a lot of the early reviews were coming out and critics were giving it kind of a meh review. And while being a fan of the Hedgehog and seeing the movie, I can kind of understand where some of that criticism is coming from. For one, while Sonic the Hedgehog 2 is definitely a lot more fun than its first movie, a lot more action, a lot more things going on, it also kind of cranks up the silly factor quite a bit, to the point that there's almost like Looney Tunes type logic in the movie. And while I didn't mind it at times, even myself, I was going, man, they're really going super silly here and just having some real kiddish type humor, which could be understandable. It's targeted for kids. It is supposed to be a kids movie and they're gonna love it either way. But those more sillier moments really do undermine some of the serious stuff that happens in this film that could have been a lot more impactful if they weren't making like 20 different fart jokes throughout the film. Another thing that's been criticized about the movie is the length. This film runs over 2 hours long, and some people say that they feel the length watching the movie. And you know what? There are actually a couple of scenes in this movie that feel extremely out of place and like they just happen out of nowhere. Two things in particular, I don't necessarily want to spoil them, but just to give you an idea of what I'm talking about here, at one point in the movie, Sonic and Tails find themselves in a cabin in the Arctic. And then the things that happen within that cabin really feel like they came out of nowhere, put the main story and thrill of the movie at a complete halt just to have a couple of laughs and jokes. Which again, I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer or say I don't like some fun, but it really distracted from the main story and felt like if you remove those scenes entirely, the movie would have flowed a lot better and not drag on. And that happens more than once in Sonic the Hedgehog 2, where just the movie takes like a side mission route to do something funny and they take it too far, and then we get back to the main story. But probably the thing that's gonna hurt it a lot is if you're not a fan of Sonic the Hedgehog. Because like I said, this movie fully embraces the video game-isms of Sonic. And with that said, I think the movie puts a lot of faith into the viewer just to know some of this lore and details from the Sonic video games. Like, the movie actually does a terrible job of explaining where Tails comes from and why he's part of the movie. Before the movie came out, a lot of us were theorizing, man, I wonder who sent Tails, what's his mission, why does he need to find Sonic? And when you watch the movie, they just kind of breeze by it. And in fact, they even have like a creepy reason for how Tails knows a lot about Sonic, which I'm sure fans will just laugh at. But again, if you're a fan of Sonic, you're just gonna let that go and slide because you want Tails part of the movie. You want him to meet Sonic and team up with these friends and whatnot, so you'll forgive it when people who are not fans of Sonic are gonna be like, that was like the dumbest reason to bring in this guy here. What is he doing here? And then as they go deeper into some of the Sonic lore in here, like with the Chaos Emerald and the lore behind it and some of the twists and turns, it feels really out of nowhere if you don't know anything about the Sonic video games. It just feels like they're going from the most random events to random events, but because I know the video games and know that that directly happens in them, I'm excited and I forgive it when it's not that kind to people unaware of the games. But look, at the end of the day, to me, those were just small little gripes, little nitpicks, but it did make me understand then why some people would not be too fond of the movie. But hey, if you're a Sonic fan, you are gonna have an absolute blast with this movie. You are just gonna be cheering up and down, and you're excited for where the future of this franchise is headed. So for Sonic the Hedgehog 2, I'm gonna give action 4 stars. Not only are the visuals stunning in here, there's lots to go around. There's awesome fight scenes between Sonic and Knuckles, and the music they attach just kind of hype you up. Can't forget about those surprises they throw in there too. Comedy in the movie, I'm gonna give it 3.5 stars. Sonic is just a quipping machine. The dude says a joke like every 10 seconds. And more than not, I found myself chuckling, and Idris Elba as Knuckles was also really funny, and who could forget Jim Jim Carrey is also a riot. Drama in the movie, I'm gonna give it 3.5 stars. I like the storyline they played out here. I do just think the story took detours at times where it really slowed the pace and thrills of what was going on. But when the movie is sticking to the main story, I am invested all the way. Horror in the film, I'll give no stars too. It's a PG movie. It's meant to pander towards kids, so they won't really get scared at anything in here. And suspense of the movie, I'll give it 3 stars. There's not really so much worrying about who's gonna make it out of the movie or not, or the consequences, but there's a few well built up moments of suspense that kind of get you on your toes. Casual fans, I'm gonna give it an A+. Cinephiles, I'm gonna give it an A-. And critically, I'm going to give it a B-. I think Sonic the Hedgehog 2 is definitely a movie you add to your collection at home.
That's a keeper. Yes.
Again, that's just my opinion as a Sonic the Hedgehog fan. There's a lot they did in there that embrace and respect the lore, but it's also just an entertaining of a movie if you're not a Sonic fan, and if you can get over some of the bumps in the road, I don't see how you don't like this movie. Let me know if you guys are going to be watching Sonic the Hedgehog 2. If you have seen the movie already, what did you think about it? Be sure to stick around for the spoiler review, because we got things to talk about, man. Don't forget to like, subscribe, follow me on Twitter at 3cfilms or on TikTok at 3cfilms. But as always, I'm Chris. Take care.